speaking to you on Holy Thursday, one of the four major holy days of the year. Now, on the Gospel on Holy Thursday, it's curious because we celebrate the institution of the Eucharist on Holy Thursday, and yet when you read the Gospel, it doesn't mention bread and wine and Jesus instituting the Eucharist, which is kind of curious. You know, we have four Gospels, and in the three Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the Last Supper is very clear. Jesus took bread, Jesus took wine, it's my body, this is my blood, institutes the Eucharist. And then John's Gospel, where the Last Supper is seen as longer than all the others, he never mentions bread and wine. Why not? And that's the text the church has chosen for Holy Thursdays, not the bread and wine text, which we read in the second reading, but the washing of the feet. Why? Very interesting. It's a Eucharistic text. A little bit of background here. Scholars estimate that John's Gospel was written somewhere between the year 90 and 100. Now, why is that important? Well, if you do the math, that means Jesus has been dead for 70 years already. And if John himself wrote the Gospel, he'd have been a very old man. He'd have been in his 90s if Jesus died in 33. Now, this is interesting. The old man, he's in his 90s. He has seen 70 years of church life. And 70 years of church life then is like 70 years of church life now. They thought about everything, especially about the Eucharist. So by the time John wrote his Gospel, Christians were arguing about the Eucharist. How often should it be celebrated? Some were celebrating it a couple of times a year. Some were celebrating it once a week. John's community was celebrating it every day. And they're saying, who should preside? What does the Eucharist mean? What part of Jesus' life is attached to? So when old John, so imagine a 90-year-old man, who's Jesus' beloved disciple writing the Gospel, he says, he doesn't put in the bread and wine, and he brings out the basin and the towel, and he says, this is what the Eucharist means. If we can't wash each other's feet, then, why are we going to Eucharist? So he gives us not the literal bread and wine of the Eucharist, he gives us its meaning. And it's interesting, as a priest, for years, I always found that a very awkward gesture, and it is. People come to get their feet washed, they're embarrassed, you're embarrassed. There's no aesthetic way of doing this. Your stole gets into the water, and so it's kind of an awkward thing. You hope to get it out of the way with. Until one year I realized that's the whole purpose of the exercise. It's meant to be awkward. There's no aesthetic, easy way. This is a difficult gesture. And also the washing of the feet. Notice the disciples resist. They say, never, you can't do this. So it's a gesture that really reaches across. And it's and for John, that's the meaning of the Eucharist. So it's very interesting today, when we celebrate on Holy Thursday, the institution of the Eucharist, the church has chosen not to highlight in the Gospel the bread and wine, but to highlight the basin and the towel. That this is what the Eucharist means. I often think it would be interesting in our churches if under the altar, and I know a few churches have that under the altar, they have a basin and a towel, to symbolize that kind of, so it's not just like servant leadership or that, the servant washes the master's feet, which is what our iconography and theology and spirituality often make out. And that's beautiful. I remember a poem by John Shea where he says, at the Last Supper, Jesus got up and he took the mantle of privilege and reversed it and turned it into the apron of service. It's a beautiful line. Turn the mantle of privilege into the apron of service. And that's what that text means, but more deeply, it's a call to all Christians about this is what Eucharist means. Let's stop fighting. And there couldn't be a more appropriate text, because I'm sure where you live, it's the same as where I live, and that is today people are fighting about everything, whether to be vaccinated, not to be vaccinated, who to vote for, the abortion issues, on, and every issue is something that divides us. And so John was already looking at that, and he said, this is what the Eucharist means. It's the washing of each other's feet. So I wish you all a very holy and happy Thursday.